What's happening? I'm Joe. This is my 2016 Ram 1500. It's a 3.6 Pentastar, but I don't think it'll matter with this. This intro will be for 4 different videos. I'm going to start with the front brakes, just pads and rotors. Second video will be pads and rotors on the rear. And then since I got them off, I mean, I don't know why I wouldn't just paint the calipers, you know? I've never done it, so let's make it into a big deal. Got everything else off. Might as well try this hyper dip thing. I've watched a billion videos. These guys make some amazing stuff, so we'll see. This is a farm / construction daily driver type of truck. It goes through some shit, so we'll see if these products hold up. Alright, along with those 4 products, I added another product I'm going to do a little review on. I didn't even know these things existed until I started researching how to bleed brakes. And, well, what these do, they got a little valve inside there, or a ball or something, spring, shit, I don't know. Either way, you can bleed with one person. So you push the brake, it will squirt out air and fluid and whatever else is in there. And when you release the brake, that valve closes so air can't come back in. So essentially making a 2-person job a 1-person job, which is terrific. On their website, they did not have my particular truck, so I emailed them. They got back to me within probably 10 hours. Gave me the part number I needed for my truck. Very quick, easy. Along with those, I got a little tube and a clear bag, you know, from their website also. I think these were $7 a piece, so $28 for the whole truck. And then this bag and the hose was $6, I think. So we'll see how well this works. Alright, real quick, I am going to be taking the brakes off of the truck to do the pads and put the speed bleeders on. So if you're here for the whole brake service, then stay tuned. If you're only here for the bleeding portion, skip to this time. Alright, let's get into some front brakes. So I noticed my brakes were grabbing and they felt gravelly when I would push the brakes, eventually turning into a squeak. So I kind of knew it. I wound up taking my tire off just to have a peek at the brake pads anyways, just to make sure. But we'll go over a little bit more on how to make sure you even need brakes before you get into this project. So first off, before we jack it up, break the lug nuts loose. You're only breaking them loose. Don't be turning them or anything. You don't want to damage your wheel studs. That's it. Because I'm making a project out of this, I am going to jack it up and leave it on some jack stands, because I'm going to have the wheels and the calipers off, and the truck will probably be up on jack stands for a day or 2. So where I'm going with it is, I'm going to jack up from right there. Hopefully you can get a good view of that. That goes right on up to the frame, so I'll have a good support system here. I got to build my jack up with a couple chunks of wood just so it can get up. I just got a couple of these monsters from Menards, so I get this sucker up on jack stands. Now that we're up and sturdy on these jack stands, let's get this fucker off. Yeah, and a quick side note I about forgot. I did just rotate my tires, so I want these to go back on in the same position. So I'm going to go ahead and mark these. Of course, my marker isn't going to work worth a shit. But if you want your tires to go back on correctly, let's talk about these rotors first. So keep in mind, I'm no goddamn expert, but from what I read, the minimum thickness you need for rotors is stamped on this outer edge. And I think it used to be, and I've seen little places like right here where there has been some lettering stamped on there. So my minimum thickness is no longer stamped. I did find a chart that I believe is probably pretty close to correct. It says this truck is 1.039, and if I get out my little sweet little tool here, let's see if I can move this out. Trying to do this one with one hand sucks. And that's millimeter. So inches, I'm at 1.11 there. Yeah, whatever. If you go around and check, you'll see if you can get them resurfaced or turned, whatever. And all that is machining this down so it's nice and flat again. So you get a real even, flat surface to grab onto once you have new pads. This rotor doesn't seem to be too bad, actually. There's no big waves, there's no notches. It doesn't look terribly overheated or anything. Just good wear. And honestly, this is my second set. This is all OEM parts. I really haven't had any issues with OEM. I don't even know why I decided to do something different, but don't be scared of the OEM stuff on the Rams. I've gotten 60 to 70,000 miles out of both of them, both sets, so I really don't have an issue with that. I just wanted to do something different, I guess. Alright, so let's talk about these pads. You can see, if I can get it focused in there, there's not a whole lot of pad left. Everything I've read online says for most vehicles about 3 millimeters is your minimum, and you're wanting to think about changing them. So I don't have one of those tools that they fan out with all the color coded things, so you can stick it in there and compare it to your pad. But one thing I did find is, all right, if we have a look at a penny, we're about real close to 1.5 millimeters. So if you can see your pad, or you can get a couple pennies up into your pad, if you can fit 2 pennies in there, you're still doing good. If you're less than 2 pennies, well, probably time for some new pads. And I suppose rotors are pretty cheap anyways. I don't know, you can get some pretty shitty Chinese aftermarket stuff for pretty cheap if you had to just get by or whatever. But I guess we didn't really go into depth on brakes. I mean, I don't know everything, but I know a little bit. You know, when you're feeling your brake pedal kind of rattle around, your rotors are probably warping, or your pads are chipping away or whatever. But what it is you're trying to squeeze the brakes and something is not right, and it's usually the rotor. But I have seen pads get hot and just chip off, and then you start wearing real unevenly and you start getting grooves and shit in here. So I just noticed his just starting to get a little rougher. I was having to brake a little harder, and then it started squeaking eventually. So, but we're going to start off with, so I am completely taking this all apart. Because I'm going to paint these, I'm taking it all out. So I know you can paint them while they're on there. I don't want to do that, just because. So what I've done here is I don't have one of those, I don't know, tools you're supposed to use for clamping off the brake lines, but I wrapped a work glove around there so the grooves didn't dig into this line. I'm not going to be wearing them gloves anyways, obviously. So we need to take this little nut off right here, or bolt, I mean. I believe it's a 5/8. Probably gonna dribble a little fluid out of here. Hopefully I got that thing tight enough. Okay, and I think I dropped a washer. There is 2 crush washers on both sides of that block that bolt passes through. You'll want to replace both of those. So I'm just gonna suck that sucker up here. There. That way the hose isn't hanging. Just get that screw out of there. With that out of the way, I'm going to go ahead and take this whole thing off. So there's a bracket that runs along the outside for the caliper, and then the caliper itself, which is attached to the bracket, obviously. We're going to go ahead and take the bracket off. You could just take the caliper off if you wanted. I'm going to take the whole thing off and take it inside. So there's one bolt right here I'm getting on. And then there's another one. Right there. One of them. I apologize for the shitty camera angles, but this one's kind of tough. So here are those brackets I'm talking, or the bracket bolts I'm talking about. There's one, and there's the top one. I am using a 13/16. Now they are on there a little bit, so you might need a breaker bar or just find a way to wedge your body in there to get good leverage on it. Alright, let's get this fucking shit out of here. Now that we've got those bolts out, another set of washers that try not to lose. It doesn't seem like they'll come off of there, but just keep your eyes open. Hopefully this comes right off. Okay, so with two hands it does come off pretty easy. Be careful, there's brake fluid in there. It's a heavy sumbitch too, so you definitely want to use two hands for that. Forgot to mention, so because we had that brake line off of there, there's no more pressure. So you can just take a screwdriver in here and pry those calipers open. That'll help you get it off the rotor a little easier too. Mine came off pretty simple without having to do that, but that could help. Getting these rotors off of here. Now I got lucky with this one. I was able to grab it with both hands on either side and just wiggle it back and forth, and this one came right off. So I got pretty lucky there. The other side is looking the same way, but if yours are rusted on there, you might need to take a hammer and just kind of beat it here just to break it free. Don't go buck fucking wild and ruin your rotor, you know. Alright, before we get too much farther, I want to go over just exactly what I bought, what I'm going to be installing here. I went with these Powerstop Extremes. They're carbon fiber, low dust formula, whatever, you can read the damn thing. When I was looking through the interwebs for some brake pads and brake setup, whatever, these things got great reviews on every site that I went to. So I went with these. Let's go through what they sent along here. Got a sweet little sticker, installation guide along with the break-in process, which seems like a pretty big deal from everything I've read. We got front and rear rotors. Notice they are labeled with which side they go on, because that will matter with these since they're drilled and slotted. Now I've never done the carbon fiber or ceramic stuff, but we'll give her a review. So she comes with boots for the front and the rear. Pads, obviously. All your clips. I did just open that to make sure I had enough and they were the right ones. And then a little bit of slide grease. And that is the same exact thing that's in that box for the rear. So I have high hopes for these things. Everybody seems to have a pretty good words to say about it, so we're gonna find out. Okay, so I've taken the pads out of one side already. I wanted to check out the clip situation. They are all exactly the same. Well, except for that one. That one started to get a little wear on it. I'm changing these just in time. I did compare it with the ones in the bag to make sure they matched up exactly, and they are the same, so good on them. Now to get these out, I believe on this the caliper side pad. I think I just depressed this. Yeah, so I just closed the caliper, and that back brake popped right out. So easy on that one. Now on this front one, you can see they're clipped in back or in front, whatever this is. So I just slid this side out, and well, the other one was easy. And pop that little tab through. And then this side slid on out of there. And then you're able to pop that one out just the same. Well, or out the back, whatever. So because I'm going to be cleaning these up real good and painting them, I took this screw all the way out. That's where the fluid goes, obviously, and brought it over to my little container here and twirled it around and got every ounce of fluid out of there I could. I put that screw back in there, so hopefully no more will dribble while I'm trying to paint. I imagine it'll just eat that paint right off. Another way to get them out, probably even easier, take this bracket free from the caliper itself. Just take this bolt loose and this bolt loose. It's a 13 millimeter. I already cracked them open. They're on there pretty good. Well, damn it. Just put it on there a little bit. They're already on there. Yeah, you'll have to give them a good thumping to crack them loose. Nothing you can't handle though. So we get those off, and that bracket will come free from the caliper, which I'm sure will make it just as easy, but they came out easy enough the way it was. So I have seen videos too where once you start getting this to spin, this will spin as well. I didn't have that problem, but if that does happen, get a wrench on there and hold it in place while you unscrew that. If you're going to be replacing your boots, or even if you're not, let's go ahead and take this out of here. This is just your slide. I'm trying to be nice to it. There we go. My boots are still in good shape. I'll try and get that in the camera. No tears or leaks of any sort. I'll be holding on to them just in case. I mean, why not? That looks like they're exactly the same. Yep, looks like they're exactly the same, so you don't have to worry about confusing them if you put them up on a shelf or whatever. Earlier I chopped the top off some water bottles, and so for each corner of the vehicle I've just been collecting nuts and bolts and whatever, so I don't get too much shit mixed up. Now that we got pads and boots and bolts out of everything, I'd recommend going over everything with a wire brush. I'm going to go a little overboard and probably get out the sandpaper and stuff like that, since I'm going to be painting them. Do a good clean job, do a little brake clean, that kind of shit. Get them cleaned up before we start going back together. Let's get these guys back together, huh? Yeah, so I did a quick little paint job too while we were waiting. Didn't do so much on the back side where you don't see, but the front looks real nice on the top. First thing I'm gonna do is replace this bleeder with the speed bleeder. I already took the old one out, but it's just sitting in there like that. Little 7/16 wrench. Loosen that up. Now the speed bleeder, the instructions don't give an actual torque. It just says tighten it until it's seated. And I don't know, I guess you can probably see in there. Probably not. You'll be able to feel when it's seated. I already did the other one. Obviously, if it's leaking air or anything up out of the threads, then I'll tighten it a little more. Whatever. This is just kind of a trial and error process. It does come with a little bit of thread sealant on there, I can't get it to focus, but there's a little thread sealant on there. It says if you do take it out and you want to put more thread sealer on there, you can. I think you can buy some on their website. And then once you get it started, you can feel that thread sealer. It really makes it nice and tight. Alright, I'm gonna get this tightened in there better. So yeah, you can really feel it when it gets to where it's going. It's right there. I'd have to put a little bit of ass into it, and I'm sure I'll just snap it. Don't forget they are hollow inside there to let the fluid through, so you can't go buck wild. They even come with a nice, real nice rubber cap. Feels good material. All right, next let's get the pads together. So for me, I haven't done brakes before, so I'm just trying to keep orientated on how everything goes together. And the way I'm kind of keeping track is, obviously there's a rounded part in the caliper spot, so the rounded part of the pad would go down there. So that's how I'm kind of trying to keep it together. So real quick, I'm going to take an old brake pad, put that motherfucker in there. I'll take these big bastards and close these calipers so we can get the pads in there. You can use all kinds of shit. Whatever you got. You need a block of wood if you don't have a brake pad, or whatever, something to go flat across there, and something to pinch if you got any kind of vice grip or some kind of screwing in mechanism, a C-clamp, whatever. Easy as that. Well, got a little wrinkle in her now. Fuck. Hope that didn't hurt it. So a lot of people will probably just build this on their truck. I'm going to build it all in my garage. It's a little easier for me. And then put it on my truck as one, kind of. So I'm trying to keep orientated with exactly what goes where. Because it's been a while. I think the brakes have been off my truck for 3 weeks now. But, so I know these holes are going to match up with that hole. So that guy is going to sit on there like that. So I'm going to go ahead and flip him over so I'm able to get the pads on. So now I'll know when I'm putting the pads on, they sit like this. So in here, they will sit like this. Alright. Now, Powerstop's website has a little video on it. They show putting a little bit of grease on some contact points. So just on the ears here. I think they even put some on the back of the pad where the caliper will be pushing on it. Where the clips go on the ears. But I've also seen people put it in the actual groove where the slide sits too. I'm going to go ahead and do that too. So let's grab some grease. It does come with a little pouch of grease. I'm going to go ahead and use this, but whatever, any kind of brake grease will work, I would imagine. So you don't have to grease the shit out of it, just a little bit on each side, because all of it's going to be touching something. But you kind of get the gist of it, and I'm going to go around and grease all this shit. Alright, all greased up. Just need a little on the surface. You just got metal on metal rubbing. It's going to keep the noise down, keep from wearing this out. No big deal. But all the ears on the brake pads, a little bit on the calipers, and where the clips are going to be, I just ran my finger through there, those two channels. Alright, so let's put these tabs on here. Now we want to check orientation again. So if this is going to be our one, it's going to go up there. This little hook part is going to be facing the back. There's only one way. Ooh, shit. There's only one way that ear is going to fit in there. All the other sides are closed up. So that little opening right there. with that hook facing back, just like so. Yeah, real easy. Right there you go. Okay, same thing on this side. If I can do it. All right. Now be careful now that I've greased everything up. Don't be getting lube on the face of that pad. That will not help you stop. I can about promise you that. Okay, so then we're upside down on this side. I'm just gonna slide in. I don't know if I get my hand out of the way. Just gonna slide in that channel on both sides. I'm gonna have to use two hands probably, but we're just sliding it through here. Okay. Okay, I can see where they slid right in there on both sides. Fairly simple. That little hook catches in back, just like that. It will fall right out of there, so don't be getting too wild. Alright, so the other brake pad will be facing this direction. Go ahead and get a couple more clips. Again, the hook part will be facing this thing's back. So, put it on same as we did last time. Possibly. Okay, wait, no, that's going to be sitting like that. So fix it back. Okay. Again, we're going to flip it over, and now this is going to be the same way. It's going to slide in that channel and that channel. Alright, we got to drop it in here first and wiggle it a little bit. There we go on that side, there we go on that side. Of course, it's going to be a real fucker now. Well, you can see how it's supposed to go. I can't do it with one hand. I need to push in evenly. But we're just about ready to put this bracket on here. Okay, so I grabbed my water bottle with my front right stuff in it. And these are the guys I'm looking for right here. Those slide pins, and there should be a couple screws that go along with it. There they are. Alright, so we are going to get these a wipe down real quick. Maybe brush those out real quick, just get them cleaned up a touch, and then we'll grease them up, get the boots and everything put on. So now that we've got those lubed up, we'll grab our boots. They're the same both directions, so you don't have to worry about what side goes on. So those slide down and they'll actually clip in at the bottom down there. And you can feel them seat when you just push it. I don't know if you just saw that. Let's see if you can see this one a little better. And it actually is audible too. You can hear it click in there. So then on the back side of this guy, flip it up. We have that same kind of lip that was on here, right there. So we're going to go ahead and slide that fucker in there. Oh yeah. Now we want it to seat on there just like it did on the screw, or on the slide part. You can see that popped right on there, no problem. Get this other side on. Oh yeah. Just like that. Piece of cake. Okay, so now these screws go into those holes, and that's the way it attaches over here. So let's see if we can get this to make any sense. So we're going to hold it right there and get a screw in. Just like that. Same on the other side. I just put it in there finger tight for right now because I left my Loctite out by my truck and I didn't want to go get it. So now, just showing you where the screw was. Well, shit, it don't want to come out now. Got those slid back in. Let's close this thing up. Hey, have to move the pad away from the caliper a little bit so it'll actually close. There we go. I'll get this screw in real quick just so I don't lose it. Okay, so that's almost everything we need. Now because I took it totally apart, I need to remember to grab this screw here along with some new crush washers because I got rid of the ones that came on it. Okay, I'm just going to put both of them on there. Remember there's an upper and a lower. But I'm just going to put that in there for a second so we can carry it all out to the truck. Alright, I think we're ready. Alright, so I grabbed the front passenger side rotor. Well, I'm sure glad they mark it out for you. I guess you could kind of figure it out the way it's marked, you know, it's rolling with the marks, whatever. So before I put this on, generally you're going to want to clean this up. I've washed it. I just haven't got any, I don't have a wire brush with me. I don't have any steel wool with me. I'm just ill prepared for this thing today. I kind of forgot about it, honestly, but definitely clean that up a little bit. It'll help, you know, next time you want to take this rotor off, the fucking thing won't be rusted on there. So let's get this bitch on here. So something I forgot to mention when I was taking off the rotors. If you still got your factory rotors on, there'll probably be some kind of retainer type clip holding on. You don't need to keep that thing or anything. Although right now it'd probably come in handy for me because I got to keep that in place and get that on here. So, but whatever. Anyways, just wanted to mention that. You don't need that thing. Alright, so all I'm going to do now is put a little blue Loctite on both of these bolts, the big bolts that hold the bracket in back here on this guy and this guy. Get some blue Loctite on those, hold that in place, spin them bitches on. I'm definitely going to need two hands. Alright, that actually went on fairly simple. I just, I held this with my left hand, it slid right on the rotor. I just lined that up and put the screw in. It wasn't too big a deal. I know on the other side, I had a little problem just because I didn't depress that caliper enough. And I don't know if you can see the pads, but there's not a whole lot of room in there. So if that caliper isn't pressed in all the way, you're gonna have a hell of a time getting the pads over the rotors. But now that I've got that on, I forgot to make sure and brake clean this rotor off completely. Because when it gets shipped, I'm sure they put some grease and shit on it. So now I'm going to go ahead and flip this thing open and clean this thing off with some brake clean and a rag, front and back. Yeah, I wound up just taking the damn thing off there again so I could flip it around and get the backside cleaned up real good. Alright, now that we're cleaned up, got that back on, I'm going to torque those two big bolts to 130 foot-pounds. It's not the easiest place to get a torque wrench in, but there is a little room at the bottom here. Now that we got those torqued, I'm going to take these two slide bolts out, put a touch of blue thread locker on there again. Those will be torqued to 32 foot-pounds. Alright, now that we got those 4 bolts torqued down, we are good to go. Let's get the brake line hooked back up. If you remember when we took these off, son of a bitch. When we took these off, there is a washer on both sides of this thing. So when we put that down on this hole, there will be a washer on the front side and the back side, okay? Alright, so once you get that in there, that is 18 foot-pounds. Now, I'm getting all these torque values from forums. I don't have any official documents. I've seen them argue about these being 24 or 32. I went with 32, and it still didn't feel like it was super tight, so I'm not too worried about it. These big dogs seem to be in the 130 range. I blue Loctited both of them anyway, so they aren't going anywhere. Well, now that we have some brakes installed, I suppose it's time to bleed the system. Just another thing I have never done. So the information I'm gathering is, and I don't know all these parts and what people are talking about, but it makes sense. I would like to flush it, but apparently to do a real actual flush, you need to hook up a scan tool to it so you can run the ABS part of the system and pump everything out of that. Well, I don't have a scan tool to do that, nor the know-how, so I'm just gonna do kind of the old-fashioned stuff, get as much of this fluid out of here as I can. So I'm gonna start with this. Right on here it says DOT3 fluid for my truck, and it says only from a brand new sealed container, so luckily that's what I have. But they take this shit pretty serious. The cap says to make sure and clean it before you take it off, so I'm gonna brake clean this whole damn area and spit shine the fuck out of it before I do anything else. So then we're gonna remove as much of fluid out of here as I can get. Probably just, I don't know, right in here-ish, so I don't create any air pockets right here. Apparently getting air in the system is a real no-no. Then we're going to start the farthest break away, and I'm sure you've watched 100 damn videos and they're all saying the same shit, so we're gonna go passenger rear. Now, since I got those speed bleeders, I'm pretty interested to see how these work. Their instructions say I just put the tube on once I take the cap off, obviously. But I'll put that little tube on. I might as well grab it and show you. So there's our little bag that came with it. I don't know, it's just kind of a flimsy little bag. I'm not really sure what to do with it. There's no holes to hang it with or anything. I don't know, I'll figure something out. But anyways, one end of this tube will go onto that deal. The other end will go onto here. Loosen a quarter turn and go pump brakes until I get the dirty shit and all the air out of the system. So actually the first thing I'm gonna do real quick is run around to all these bleeders and just make sure they're in there tight. Make sure they are seated correctly, just because I just like to double check shit like that, because every once in a while my mind wanders and I forget to do something. Next thing I'm gonna do is, boy, spray the shit out of this thing and just give her a good old wipe down. There we go. There we go. Something like that. Alright, I'm gonna wipe this whole area, because God knows I got a dirty ass truck. Alright, so what a lot of people use is some kind of syringe with a little rubber hose to reach down in there. I don't have one of those available, but I do have this siphoning setup. I don't know, it's just a cheap little pump with some fucking hose. So what I'm gonna do is stick this end in there, which I just cleaned, by the way. Clean that out, because boy, they talk a lot of shit about getting air and dirt and contaminants in here. Apparently this brake system is pretty finicky. So once I got that stuck in there, I got a little can or a oil pan thing, whatever deal, to catch what I suck out of there. Hopefully this works. cap's dirty too. Damn. Get off there, fucker. About as good as I'm gonna get it. I hope this works. Oh, hell yeah. Again, I don't want to suck too much out of there. What's up, dude? Shit. Oh, yeah. Alright, so if you spill any, clean it up right away. Apparently it'll destroy anything it touches. Alright, that worked halfway decent. I would have liked to have gotten more out of there, but I'm just below the minimum line, which, I don't know, a lot of guys say leave about a third of the fluid in there, whatever. You don't want to get dangerously close. The bad thing is this is not a big reservoir, so I'm going to have to really keep an eye on it and make sure it doesn't get too low. Another thing, look at the inside of that cap. That's how it looked when it came off. I mean, that's probably no bueno, right? Yeah, I'll give that a good wiping. Alright, so because what the owner's manual says for my truck is DOT3, the side of this container says DOT3, brand new, unopened, sealed bottle, so that's what I'm going with. I got two of these big guys. I'm not sure how much I'm gonna need. Probably quite a bit, because I want to get as much out of the system as I can. It was kind of brown, so I'm gonna fill this fucker up as much as I can without spilling, hopefully. If you do spill, clean it up right away, I guess. Oh yeah, that's like perfectly clear. Shit I pulled out of there wasn't clear, that's for damn sure. Alright, that's damn near to the top. Close that real quick. Alright, I'm going to wipe off this cap and get that thing capped off and we'll start bleeding. Alright, so I am at the rear passenger side, farthest from the master cylinder. Apparently that's what I'm supposed to be doing. Got the speed bleeder bag, got the hose hooked up to him, the other end hooked up to the speed bleeder. I don't have much of a choice, so I'm gonna have to just leave it on the ground here. I mean, I don't know what else to do, quite honestly. So I know a lot of fellas, well, a lot of videos I've watched, people get a hose very similar to this, drill a hole in a bottle, run that hose down, and put some fluid in the bottom of the hose so it doesn't suck any air back in. Well, because there's a valve in here, I won't be sucking any air in, so I'm really not too worried about this hose or the placement of the bag or anything. There is just enough hose, I can lay it on the ground. I don't really need to hang it or anything. I am very interested to see how this is going to work. So it says to open that fucker a quarter turn. Let's see what we can do here. And that's about a quarter. So I'm going to try and set this phone up so I can record this coming out. Alright, I've got you wedged in here between the spring and the rotor, so hopefully it doesn't come flying out of there. I'm going to go pump the brake and see what the fuck happens. Alright, that was 4 pumps. Looks like I got some dirtiness in there. And possibly still some air. Maybe not. Shit. That was only 4 pumps. Awesome. It is going clear to the floor, but obviously all my calipers don't have any fluid in them, so there is 0 pressure in there right now. Alright, I'm going to go pump it a few more times and try and get this to come clear. Alright, that was 4 more pumps. And I just ran around to the other brakes to make sure the threads were leaking. And so far, so good. So I've already used, oh hell, about 1/4 of the fluid I put in the master cylinder. So I'm going to top that off again just to be sure and keep pumping. That's clearing up. I'm liking the results here. That was 4 more pumps. 4 or 5, shit, I don't remember now. I'm trying to go in 4 pump increments for no particular reason. Alright, I'm going to pump again, see if I can get this completely clear. Man, that's looking really good. I think I'm gonna do 4 more pumps just to be sure. It doesn't look like there's any air at all. But I want that to be as clear as I can. If I have to use all my fluid, that's fine. Well, it doesn't seem like it's going to get much clearer. I think I might do 4 more pumps and move on to the next brake. Yeah, I think that looks pretty damn good. Alright, so we're going to tighten this sucker back up. Shouldn't suck anything else in. I'm going to grab my catch pan real quick. I just gotta hopefully this shit doesn't eat the new caliper paint. We're about to find out. Oh, nice. That goes right into the bag. Very nice. Okay. I'll put this little cap back on and move on to the next. Well, that seemed to work well. So now I'm on the driver's side rear. I'm going to set up the same way. I just empty the bag into my little catch can, whatever the fuck you want to call that. And obviously you can't get all of it out of there because of the way it's set up. The hose is sticking in there, but whatever, it works fine. So I'm going to get this sucker set up, go top off with some more fluid. And so I've topped off once, and I'm down to about right there. So I did that twice, just with that one brake. Mostly I just want to pump the shit out of it and get as much old shit out as I can. And even this, I don't know what it is with this container, but it makes it look dirty. So I know that shit's clean in there, but whatever it is tints that clean stuff too. So whatever. We'll see what comes out. Alright, so as I'm pumping, doing this rear driver's side, I could hear some air whizzing. Turns out I'm blowing some out of the front already, so I'm gonna tighten this guy up a little bit. I think it was coming out of here, not from the threads, but I really hope anyways. So I'm gonna tighten him up a little bit more and continue. Boy, that's really tight. I really don't want to snap this off. Alright, so I tightened it a little bit, gave it a couple more pumps, and you can see it's coming out of the nozzle there. So I'm gonna have to tighten a little more, and I tell you what, it's already seated in there. And I really don't want to wrench on it anymore. I really feel like I'm gonna snap it off. Meanwhile, back here I'm getting some nice clear fluid. I'm so excited about that. What's in that bag is still from the first one. So I tightened it up again, and I'm pretty scared right now. I can hear it still. God damn it. Still good there. Well, I must have been hearing it from the back brake because it didn't leak that time. Okay, good. Alright, I think a crisis averted. I think that's going to do it for this back brake. We got some good clear fluid. There's no air in there at all. So I'm going to take this off and move up to the front passenger. Alright, I emptied the bag out. That time I got some pretty decent little suction on it, so I got it almost empty. The driver's side rear, I think I wound up doing 20 pumps, maybe 22, I don't know, in that range somewhere. So it seems to be getting shorter and shorter. I kind of wish maybe on the back one I would have gone 10 more pumps, just because it's the longest line, just to clean it out a little more. Yes, the loudest fucking bike possible. Okay, so I'm gonna get hooked up to this guy and start pumping. Alright, there's about 20 pumps on this front right brake. The one thing I wish is I could get that bag completely empty so I could see, you know, just exactly how much crap I'm getting out of each one, because that is still from the first brake I did, so you know, the real dark shit, and I'm sure I'm still getting a little bit out of there, but either way, that's coming out nice and clear. Obviously no air or anything in the hose. So I think I'm gonna cap this one off. I don't know if I said, but I think that's about 20 pumps. One thing, definitely, the back brakes, when I was doing those, it was still very spongy on both of them, the brake pedal. 5 pumps into this, the first front brake, that brake pedal started stiffening up immediately. So I was a little bit worried, just because I've never done this. I don't know what to expect, but brake pedal is stiffening up, so I imagine when I'm done with the driver's side, it's going to be balls on. Alright, let's tighten him back up. Yeah, because of that other one, I am a little scared I'm not going to get them tight enough. But at the same time, I read online that a couple guys had snapped these. So there seems to be a fine line. They seem very strong. They are well made. Everything they send in that little kit is well made. Come on, you fucking bug. Okay, I'm going to empty this bag out and get on to the next one. Alright, I have 3 brakes done, and I have used 1 whole quart. Let's see what I got left in there. I'm about down to half. So I am going to have to break open this guy. Another big bottle I'm probably going to be wasting half of it because I know it doesn't have a shelf life, but it is what it is. So I'm going to fill that thing back up and get started on our last break. Alright, that's about 20 pumps out of that guy. It's pretty much clean immediately. I was just pumping the shit out of it, trying to get some more gone through here, and well, I don't know, use up some of this fluid because I'm going to be throwing it away anyways. Maybe I'll just shoot it and see if it explodes. I don't know. Either way, so I'm going to tighten that up and get that hose off there, and then fill this up. I don't know if you can see this through the camera, but there's a maximum line and a minimum line. I'm probably just going to go, I don't know, a little over halfway between them, somewhere in there. Alright, I tightened that last one up, got the hose off, filled him up to about right there, just a little over half between the min and the max. So my second jug, boy, I'm probably down to about here. So if you're going to do it like I did it, I would definitely recommend just getting 2 full quarts. I probably could have done it with less, but I wanted to get out as much as I could. So either way, I would have felt comfortable with getting 3, honestly. I did just step on the brake pedal. It is nice and stiff. There is it doesn't fucking go to the floor or nothing. So I just went around and checked all the bleeders, make sure nothing was leaking out of them, especially this guy. But everything seems to be intact, so I'm going to go around and get all the little rubber caps on and maybe put on some tires. And for those of you who've been talking shit under your breath about my little grass patch, I went ahead and yanked it out for you. It's kind of where I rested my head when I was doing oil changes, so I'm a little unhappy about this situation, quite honestly. Okay, so this is where all 4 of these videos are going to come back together. I'm pretty much done with everything. The one thing I haven't completed 100% is getting this goddamn hyper dip off the tire itself. It's kind of a son of a bitch. I think I'll do it a different way next time, but it's just tedious work, and I'll get around to it. But I need to get this truck on the road tonight, so we're gonna go ahead and get the tires installed. For those of you that don't know how to put a tire on, well, we're gonna line up these holes with those studs. We'll press it on there and then get the lug nuts. Oh yeah, that's the other thing. I got some black lug nuts ordered. These will work just fine, but I think they're gonna probably be here tomorrow, of course. So I don't think it'll look bad with those anyways. Alright, once you got that bastard up there, go ahead and start all your lug nuts. And start them with your damn fingers. Don't be putting them in some power tool and just ramming them on there. That's how you get cross threads, and it makes your life a real bitch. So go around, put each one of them on. Make sure you get all kinds of good threads, so you know you're not going to be cross threaded. You know everything's okay. Alright, we got tires on. We're ready to jack it up and get them jack stands out of there. And just in case you had any questions about this jack stand placement, 2 nights ago we had 90-mile-an-hour winds, and not even 15 feet from my truck, we broke this tree just from the wind. Snapped off. It's most of it's right there, but the truck didn't move, so there you go. Alright, I brought the rear end down first. Obviously, just jack it up and pull the jack stands out again. I'm going to go ahead and torque these before I drop the front tires. If you look in your owner's manual, in this particular truck, I got a stupid shadow right there, damn. Well, in this particular truck, in the emergency section in back, it gives you the torque rating for your lug nuts. So I'm at 130. I'm going to go ahead and torque these down. Alright, we just brought the front end down. Same procedure. Get a torque wrench on there. $130. So now we move on to the one last thing that's probably going to be a pain in the ass, and that is breaking these pads in. Now, the reviews I've read and the instructions that are given say this is a very important part. So the procedure is, we need to get out on the road, we need to go 40 miles an hour and stop to 10 miles an hour aggressively 5 times right in a row. So I guess what we're doing is trying to heat those pads up and wear them evenly against the rotor so that you get that initial surface, I suppose. I don't know. There's a bunch of science going on and I'm about over it. So after the 40 to 10 5 times, then we got to do 35 to 5 times with a moderate, not quite aggressive braking. And then we got to drive around for 5 minutes without touching the brakes and let them cool off. That should be the break-in process. So when you're doing this, you got to keep this in mind, because I'm a little lucky with this particular road. I think I can do most of it if I just turn left out of here. I think there's just one stoplight. I'll be able to probably be done with my 40 to 0s or 40 to 10s before I get there. Hopefully I hit that stoplight. If not, if you do come up to a stoplight and you have to stop, it does want you to either stay back a ways and just roll slightly, or put it in park. Point being, they don't want the pads latching onto the rotors. I think it'll leave an imprint or something and make it uneven right off the bat. So I guess I'm gonna haul ass out of here and pray I don't hit that damn stoplight. I have no way to attach my phone to the truck to watch this procedure, so you're just gonna have to trust me. So that break-in procedure was interesting for sure. I probably got the 40 to 10s down in maybe a quarter mile, maybe a half mile, somewhere in there. I did run into a red light. I did not touch my brakes. I just hooked a hard right and wound up getting on the interstate. On the on-ramp, it's a long twisty one, so I was able to get all my 35 to 5s done at that point. I turned my flashers on just in case, but luckily it's about 11 o'clock, so there's not too much traffic. The actual part that surprised me is the cool down part, where they don't want you to touch your brakes for 5 minutes. That is tough. I got lucky and got off the interstate right at the next exit and wound up on a road that went straight. I had nobody around me, so I was able to just chill for damn near 10 minutes, honestly. So it wound up being about perfect. I have not looked at the brakes since I did, but no difference. You'll definitely smell them while you're doing this. Essentially, you're just heating them up and getting them smooth and flat, and so they're gonna get their surface they want for the rotor, whatever. So good luck with that. Plan your route, definitely. Now don't forget, after you've driven for I don't know, a day, maybe 2, I don't know, 30, 40, 50 miles, go back and re-torque those lug nuts, because just from the vibrations of the road, whatever, it's gonna seat in there a little more. So if there was any tiny little gap, it's gonna find its way in there and they might loosen up just a touch. So I have 30 miles to drive out to our farm. I'm gonna re-torque them out there. All right, it's the next day. I waited a full day to re-torque these, but just wanted to show you why we re-torque. I don't know if you could see that well, but hell, I got a damn near a quarter turn out of it. See how much more I'm getting? Between an eighth and a quarter turn out of every damn lug nut. Alright, there you go. go. There's proof why we do that. All right, a quick review on the Speed Bleeders. These things are badass, for real. Made in the USA. The construction is on point, for real. Very high quality, from the speed bleeder to the hose to the bag, everything. Man, I just love it. I will be buying speed bleeders for any project I'm doing on any car I'm doing. Absolutely. I can't give these guys enough praise. From the quality of the build to the reaction time from the emails that I sent, I love it all. So great job, Speed Bleeder. You have a new customer. Check out this squirrel behind me. I just stuck an apple up in that tree. He's getting down. He wouldn't take it out of my hand. He got close. Anyways, so just gonna do a quick little review on this. These brakes were super easy to install. They fit perfect. Everything was very, very nice with this Powerstop setup. It's been about 3 months. I have had no issues with these. I'll probably do like a 6 month, maybe a year review. I do kind of wish I would have done the e-brake shoes, because I think they're squeaking a little bit, but these brakes have been wonderful. I can feel the difference between those and the OEM. Not good or bad, just they're different. I think they stop harder, easier. I've pulled my trailer, I pulled my car around a little bit. Seems to brake good. I have trailer brakes though, so whatever. I'm getting out of line here. Just wanted to say quickly that, man, I've had no issue with these, and I highly recommend. So thanks for watching a lot. If I've done anything that you would do different, something I can learn from, please leave a comment below. I can always learn. First time doing it, so I can definitely do it better, I'm sure. All right. Thanks a lot for watching. Peace.